the points chase by 21 over Kevin Windham. But Kevin's 1-1 at Binghamton was his 4th victory of the year. Can the Red Riders steal the title, or will Albee hold on for his first championship on American soil? Round 12, AMA Motocross is next. Hello, everyone. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs from Delmont, Pennsylvania, Steel City Raceway for the final round of the AMA Motocross season. It's good weather. We might get a little rain later on here at the track as we take a look at the 125s getting ready for their first moto. Talon Bolin, 3rd in the points, but he's also very anxious to take on Alessio Chiodi, the Italian who's come over to run. This could be termed a shootout of champions, as Ricky Carmichael has already wrapped up his 3rd consecutive AMA 125 title, while Alessio Chiodi, seen here, has already won 3 consecutive world championships. He is working with a much different bike, though, than he raced in Europe, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with it. Points race, Ricky Carmichael leads by 118 points, already sewed up the title, but Talon Bolin would certainly like to take advantage of Brock Sellers and move past his teammate into 2nd. Let's go down to Davey Combs.
Well, this is it, the end of a long outdoor national championship season for the 125 riders. Ricky Carmichael, of course, has already wrapped up his 3rd national title, but today he goes after the tie with Mark Barnett's all-time win record of 25. But there's a wild card here. Check it out. 3-time world motocross champion Alessio Chiodi from Italy. This is a showdown the Steel City fans are very lucky to have. I don't know who you guys are going to pick, but I got to think Carmichael's the favorite. Neither rider's ever won here. Of course, Chiodi's never been here before.
And let's take a look at the track map where Chiodi's going to be racing.
Beautiful layout, Art. It's just designed perfect for spectators, even for the mechanics. They can see their rider all the way around. But the section we're highlighting for you, we're going to go on board and see what it looks like when you miss your timing. A lot of jumps out here on this racetrack, and if you don't double them, it ruins your rhythm all the way down the straightaway. This could have been a double if he'd landed right there. See another rider, how much more momentum he gains by clearing that double right out of the corner.
Taking a look at the Suzuki starting grid, Ricky Carmichael, the champion. Bolin finishing the year in 3rd place. He would love to beat Chiodi. Way a winner on the season. Casey Lytle. Brock Sellards also got a victory this year. Nathan Ramsey in the top 5 out of that pro circuit camp. And here's the rest of the 40-rider field. Well, it's been mentioned that this is the only stop on the National Motocross Circuit that RC has not won at. That's quite a challenge. But he also, with a win here today, could tie Mark Barnett's all-time 125 career win record of 25 victories. So although his title has already been secured, he's got a lot of motivation here as we get set for the 125 to crank it up. Brock Sellards, Chad Watts, Ricky Carmichael's mechanic. Carmichael, a look of quiet confidence, David.
Focused, I think. He knows he's got to beat number 109, the world champion. That'll feel good.
They had all kinds of problems with the bike, unfortunately, during practice, and Chiodi had to go all the way to the last chance qualifier to get into the main event. We're set to go. The card is sideways. The 125, first moto at Delmont. Steel City Raceway is underway. Carmichael got the decent start on the inside, but it's Pingree who gets the whole shot, number 60 on the Primal Suzuki. Yamaha's right behind him.
You see Carmichael wheelied off the gate, lost a little bit of momentum, got closed off, but he played those first couple of corners smart. That's the key here at Steel City, that left and right, a lot of problems can happen, and he's in good shape right now.
Casey Johnson in 2nd. It's Ernesto Fonseca, his Yamaha Troy teammate, in 3rd, with Ricky Carmichael in 4th. There's Talon Bolin in 5th. Brock Sellards in 6th, and Chiodi is caught back in the pack.
It's going to be tough for Chiodi to work his way up. Tougher to ride against the American riders. Anytime I ever went to Europe, just knowing how those guys are going to race against you, it takes a little while to get used to, and this is going to be his first opportunity.
David Pingree, David Bailey, has really shown nicely here in the latter moments of the motocross season.
Well, he's starting to get more comfortable now. That happened to me before I started winning championships. Towards the end of the season, you start to get a little bit of a flow. He's obviously got that. He's also been getting great starts.
That's right. This was his 3rd consecutive hole shot. Casey Johnson, number 16, right behind Pingree now.
You see him fighting with the sections where they watered the track a little bit. This big, long left-hand sweeper into this tight left. You can see he's really fighting.
Track is in excellent condition.
The next lap through that corner will be perfect. 39 guys behind him will come through there and turn that up, and the burn will be established.
Pingree, Johnson, Carmichael now moving into third as he passed Ernesto Fonseca. Carmichael's right where he wants to be.
Almost. At least he's moving up, but you can see how dirty he's getting. He's going to lose vision if he stays back there much longer. He'll run out of those tearaways.
Carmichael, Fonseca, Bolin. As the 125s have opened up the program here at Delmont, the final round of the year. David Pingree, will he be leading? We'll find out when we get back.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation game console.
AMA Motocross is brought to you by Honda Motorcycles and the 1999 Honda Race Team. Honda, ride red. And by Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be picking your teeth out of the dirt for the PlayStation game console. Now available wherever video games are sold. Back to the action here in our opening moto for 125s. David Pingree is our leader. Casey Johnson in second place is starting to apply a little pressure right now. So is Carmichael in third.
Real opportunity for these guys to get out there and just try to catch Carmichael a little bit off guard, even though I still know he's motivated today. As soon as you have that title, you start to ride a little bit differently than usually. These guys are taking it to him right now.
Does it surprise you that Carmichael's never won here? Carmichael trying for the inside as Casey Johnson takes the lead. Bar to bar we go with Pingree. Pingree wants it back. Casey Johnson to the inside. He's got it, David.
Side by side down that hill. It doesn't get any better than that. Casey Johnson's made his move. Ricky looks like he's about to make one as well.
On the inside, he's got the clear shot on the jump to get by Pingree and put some heat now on Casey Johnson. So all kinds of position changes here in the early going of our opening moto. Casey Johnson, the leader for the first time in the race, with Ricky Carmichael and Pingree in that order, and Ernesto Fonseca trailing in fourth.
You can really see from this shot how high speed it is out here at Delmont. The balance it takes to get into those ruts exactly on your line is critical. Carmichael here just realizing that because they watered the track, everyone was fading wide. He kind of guessed and took the inside line, and it worked perfect.
Now the next target for RC is Casey Johnson. Johnson twice has recorded second-place motos this year, but he's been hampered with a bad back injury that took him out of some races mid-season. He's trying to get back up to par here. Looks back. Ricky Carmichael says, "I'm coming through." And Ricky has an easy time of it, really.
That's just unbelievable. I mean, Johnson went through there about as fast as he feels like he can go. Ricky just had something extra. I mean, look at him go. He's just wide open using every inch of the racetrack.
Ricky Carmichael looking good on the 125. He's not going to go to the Budds Creek 250 GP round. He's going to practice for the Motocross Nations. Let's go down to Davey Combs.
Jan, a pretty inspired start for Ricky here in the first moto. You got the championship already, but Coyote being here, does that add something for Ricky?
Not necessarily. I mean, it is nice to have the world champ here. He's a great rider, so it's a little more incentive to do great. And also, if we could win this, we've never won at Steel City. It's the only track we've never won at. And it'd be nice to tie old Barnett.
Do you think this is the kind of track he likes, the soil conditions tacky like this?
Yeah, this track's in excellent shape right now. There's traction and there's different lines.
One of the finest mechanics in the business, I think. He's done a wonderful job with Ricky Carmichael, David.
I think they relate well to each other, and he's done a pretty good job of keeping him motivated always. Even if it seems like there isn't any motivation, they seem to be able to find somewhere to keep him on track. It's the way he does best is when he's most aggressive.
The Frenchman for Yamaha of Troy, Stefan Roncada, number 22, is now hounding Bolin, number 711. Roncada's come on very strong in the latter portions of the races. He's been hampered by injuries all year. Bolin in back of Ernesto Fonseca, number 100. So he's in a Yamaha of Troy sandwich right now.
This timing through here is critical. You can see it before they start this section. They're jumping over one of the main line double jumps. Not everyone is able to do that. Used to be able to only do it on a 250. Now the 125s have so much horsepower and torque out of the corner, and these guys have gotten so skilled at getting that clutch feathered just right. They get out over and make better timing.
In the last 3 races, Ron Cotta has really looked well. In fact, let's go back 4 races. 2nd place at Troy, 4th at Washougal, 2nd at Millville, and a 3rd overall in the last race at Binghamton.
Bolin pushing it to the limit up through the switchbacks, up and down the hill, getting a little out of shape, but still not losing much time. A little bit out of his rhythm. There he is again. You can see him just stick the front wheel in the wrong spot. He's been doing that all through these corners. Hopefully that'll start to smooth out during the race. That's going to make it a little easier.
AC Johnson has gone down, so David Pingree now will move into 2nd place. Pingree looking to re-sign with Bramble Suzuki. Hasn't done it yet, though, but he has more performances like this. They'll certainly want him back. It is Pingree in 2nd, Fonseca in 3rd, Bolin in 4th, and Ron Cotta in 5th.
Now it's really just become a race for 2nd. I mean, these guys are basically chasing Pingree like he's the leader right now because Carmichael's just checked out. Look at those little tiny berms at the bottom of these off-camber corners. You got to come down the hill with so much speed and balance and find that line that's 4 inches wide and try to get in it. If you can get your bike locked in and get back on the power, it's a huge time saver, but it takes incredible focus for 30 minutes.
Ron Cotta passing Bolin. So Stefan Ron Cotta, number 22. His next target is his own teammate, Fonseca. Jason McCormick, number 36, at the caboose of that freight train. Coming off a 7th overall, a 7.5 at the Millville race.
Ron Cotta starting to pick it up as well towards the end of the season. He and Pingree both been, I don't know, eating the same food or something because these guys have really got it going.
Both anxious to prove themselves coming off injuries, David. We'll be right back with more 125 action from Delmont in a moment. Welcome back to Steel City Raceway. It's the final AMA Motocross round of the year. Ricky Carmichael is simply checked out here in the first moto. He's looking for his 9th win of the season and is back in that dominating style after having a little stretch of poor starts and going down, hitting the dirt a few times.
I'm glad to see him work through it. That just shows that he is going to master whatever you put in front of him. Whatever challenge is there, it may take him a few weeks, but it seems like he's able to overcome everything.
Sellards moving up to 6th. Look at Alessio Chiotti. After a bad start, is already up to 7th place.
That's the only mistake I've seen Carmichael make all day. His front wheel went over that berm a little bit just because somebody destroyed it, and it still didn't lose much time. Just a clear track. Looks like he's just out there in practice all by himself.
Really a lonely ride. Whereas Alessio Chiotti has number 27, Brock Sellards, in front of him as a target.
Usually you watch the Europeans and there's a whole Euro thing. There's just the style is different. When you watch Alessio, it looks like an American rider. It looks like Pingree or somebody.
Yeah, it looks like he studied tapes of the American riders, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Chiotti, of course, one of the headliners of a very fine Italian team going to the Motocross of Nations in Brazil. They'll be one of the favorites when they get there. Alessio had to really work through a lot of problems to win his 3rd consecutive title in that GP circuit.
All 3 championships were very difficult. This year he had a clutch problem in the middle of the season that cost him 20 points, and it was difficult to come back from that.
Alessio really enjoyed his experience in the Supercross Wars earlier this year and would like to return to the United States to ride full-time.
He would love to come over into America and try to capture an AMA Supercross title or a National Outdoor title. It's going to be tough, but he'd love to do it. He'd like to do it next year.
You know, David Bailey, with no doubles in GP racing, I think the guy's got incredible timing.
Well, it certainly helped him to come over here and ride the Supercross season and early on, and I think probably got out and was able to ride with a few other guys on some of the test tracks. He didn't go in there completely blind. That's helping him now.
Passed by Ferracci. Wants to put a motocross, supercross team together for next year, and they want him to headline it and then pick up one younger American rider. There's the Ferracci plan.
It's exciting to see Husqvarna back in the sport. I mean, when I was growing up, Husky was it. They were like Team Honda.
Alessio Chiodi. Oh! Chiodi takes a tough ball, but just bounces right back up. Shakes his head, goes back to the fight.
That goes back to that balance I was saying, Art. You got to find that 4-inch wide line. His front wheel drifted just over it, started to wash out and high side.
So a tough break for the 3-time 125 World GP champion.
Watch his front wheel right here, just out over the berm a little bit, starts to wash out. And it's one of those that just completely catches me by surprise. His chin hit the crossbar. Gave him a little nudge, shakes it off. I don't know, I didn't expect that to happen, but that's just how quick this track can bite.
He's a tough kid as well as an outstanding racer. Ernesto Fonseca's feeling the heat from Roncada right now, his teammate. Roncada comes to the inside. He's looking for the pass. Fonseca cuts him off. Roncada now touches the back tire.
He's letting him know he's there.
Knocking on the door.
There's a big difference between having somebody behind you about that distance versus running into your back tire in a corner. Johnson used to do that to me. It's just like, made me feel like, gosh, I'm going about as fast as I can. I don't know what else I can do. Obviously, this guy needs to get around. It starts making you nervous. Starts thinking about them. You start trying to take their lines. And Bolin could benefit right here from both these guys.
Both these riders have re-signed for next year. Yamaha of Troy. Roncada to the inside now gets by his teammate.
Nice pass. I was just thinking that if these guys start focusing too much on each other, Bolin could take advantage, and I think that could be part of the reason that Roncada's decided to pick it up a little bit.
Bolin behind them. Talon signing a 2-year deal with Pro Circuit for next year.
That's going to be a strong team. Nick Way starting to find his rhythm. The #1 plate on Ramsey and Shea Bentley, who we haven't got to see very much, but I know he's quick.
I think it's interesting to have a veteran like Talon Bolin with all the youngsters that Pro Circuit has signed. Carmichael is way out in front. Pingree in second, Roncada now in third. We'll be right back. We're back at Steel City Raceway. Moto #1 of the 125s. Ricky Carmichael is our leader, but all the action is right here. Brock Sellards on the tail end of this four-bike train with Talon Bolin in front of him. Here's Ricky, and it's the white flag lap, the final lap. Carmichael looking for his 17th moto victory of the year. Incredible domination.
I had 16 one year, and it felt like all I did was win. And he's got 17, and he's still got another moto to go. I just can't imagine what this must be like to be inside his head.
And he was pretty disturbed when he got a third at Millville and a second at Washougal.
Yeah, you can see that even if he crashes in the first turn, gets up, and it's almost a photo finish and he loses by an inch, he's still blowing a gasket between motos if he wants to win them all. That's why he's been so dominant. The guy's focused all week. He wants to win on Tuesday, Wednesday, on Sunday. Oh.
And he doesn't want to leave the 125 ranks without winning at every track. His very first pro race was right here at Delmont. Went down once, maybe twice, but showed up good enough to win Rookie of the Year that year with that one race under his belt.
Same way Reynard joined the pro ranks. Picked up to think he won his first race here. Well, Carmichael's going to have to wait quite a while to try to pick up a win here if he can.
Back to Robbie Reynard running the 250s now. He won 3 of his 5 125 national wins right here at this track. Talk about domination. He's talking about the king of Delmont. Robbie Reynard's 125 action has to register along with Jeff Ward's 500 cc action.
This may be a better track for Reynard than Millville. It is certainly in terms of his results. He rides well at both. It's weird how some tracks he just do well, others he just don't. This might be the track that Carmichael just can't seem to get it together. Although if he can keep doing what he's doing so far today, looks like he'll be able to make it a perfect career, I guess, in the 125s by winning every venue.
Put a capper on that. Jeff Ward won 4 of the 500 races that were staged here. Ricky Carmichael. The crowd cheering for him. We've got a great crowd on hand, even though rain is threatening.
It doesn't scare these people away. They're used to those big black thunderclouds rolling in. All they do is just hang on to their beer a little tighter.
Carmichael on cruise control right now. Ricky going up the hill, glances at the checkered flag, puts a finger in the air, and easily takes another moto. Pingree holds on to second. Ernesto Fonseca in fourth. And Carl Dunn, another GP rider, getting into the top 10. Let's go down to Davey now, who's with our winner.
Champ, I never would have guessed you clinched the title last week. You rode about as hard as you could ride.
I'll tell you what, Davey, that was a fun moto. The weather's out here is awesome. You guys did a great job on the track. I'll tell you what, this is the best racetrack so far this year prepared. The dirt is perfect, and you know, the overcast is keeping the track just great. That was definitely a fun moto.
Were you keeping an eye out for Alessio Chiodi at all?
Not really, you know. I had my hands full with Johnson and Pingree, so it was tough. I didn't get the start I wanted. I don't know what happened. It wasn't too bad, you know. I had the inside gate, so I didn't get squeezed out, but it was good.
One more moto, and you could do two things. You could win at Steel City for the first time, which would give you all the 125 national tracks in your career, and it'd give you that 25th career win.
Yeah, both of the combination would be great. I never won here. That'd be the main thing for me, definitely.
After getting his third consecutive hole shot on the year, David Pingree, number 60, registers his best finish as far as the moto is concerned as he places second. Let's return now to Davey Combs down in the winners area.
All right, Ping, way to go. Another good moto. Man, what's gotten into you here at the end of the season?
It's just, you know, it's a matter of building confidence, Davey. You know, every time I get an injury, it knocks me down, and it takes me a few races to build it back up, you know, just like the end of the Supercross season when I picked it back up and won one. I'm just starting to feel it again, you know. I've come out and I'm comfortable right away, you know, and I can go pretty much Ricky's speed. Unfortunately, not any faster, but at least I'm keeping him in sight.
One more moto to go on the whole season. You're going to let it all hang out and go for that first ever overall win?
Yeah, I mean, sure, you know, something could always happen to him, and he could get a bad start, you know, and just try and get out and take off. We'll see what happens.
Finally, who helped you get up here?
I really want to thank, first of all, my mechanic, Todd Brown. He's done a great job all year long. He gives me crap because I don't give him enough plugs up here, but also American Suzuki, Primal Impulse, Bill's Pipes, Shift, Alpine Stars, Dunlop Tires, Bell Helmets, Scott Goggles, just everyone that backs the team. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot to get up on that podium. As our first 125 moto has been completed, we're anticipating a great 250 round with a championship on the line.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation game console.
AMA Motocross is brought to you by Suzuki, makers of innovative motorcycles and ATVs. See the incredible new 1999s at your dealer now. Welcome back as we get set for the drive to the championship in the 250s in our final round. Greg Albertyn with a 21-point lead. He needs to score 30 points to win the championship. He's only not scored 30 points one time, and that was in the opener at Glen Helen, where he got 27 points. He's averaged a little less than a fourth-place finish in the previous 22 motos. If Windham should sweep today, Greg, get his average in Moto 1, he'd need only a 9th place finish for the title. But Kevin Windham says it's not over. Let's go down to Davey.
Well, the rain's starting to fall here right before the start of the first 250 moto at Steel City, the last national of the year. Behind me, Greg Albertyn awaits his date with destiny. Guys, he's about 4 years behind schedule, but he's on track, 21 points away from his first AMA National Championship. You know he's got a lot of pressure, but hey, you don't win 3 world championships being nervous.
Albertyn needs only 5 more points than Windham to take the title. Doug Henry's last race before he retires. We take a look at the starting grid. Albertyn and LaRocco. LaRocco looks like he might finish in 3rd for the 2nd consecutive year. The rest of the starting grid for the 250s. Dowd, Coquetta, Caton, Ferry, Lamson, Reynard, Voss, Wallace. Damon Huffman trying to be impressive so that he can regain some kind of contract. Albertyn really concentrating more on his performance and focusing on this race than figuring out what it will take to win his first AMA title. But he certainly fought through a lot of frustrations, David Bailey.
He's had collarbone after collarbone after setback, all kinds of things. plus me talking about how he couldn't stay off the ground in the early going. So he's gotten all that sorted out and really turned into an impressive rider out there that a lot of people fear every moto they line up next to him.
Kevin Windham hoping for a chain to break or that voodoo curse to work. And we go down the line to Mike LaRocco looking for a good final performance of the year. Ezra Lusk.
You know, he's just had a crappy week after crappy week. I wouldn't be surprised to see him close out the season with a perfect score, win both motos. He's got to be tired of the way things have been going. He certainly has the talent to win.
No points at Washougal, 9th and then a 10th place finish before coming into this final round. So the 250s are getting set for their first moto of the day in the last round of the year. The board going sideways now, so that gate will drop at any moment. Let's check out Albertyn on the left, Windham right next to a little elbow in there on the inside. A good position as John Dowd gets the credit for the hole shot, number 6. Dowdy out in front. Larry Ward moves into second place. Caton on the Suzuki in third. That's a big surprise, getting by Ezra Lusk in the corner.
And Albertyn right there by Lusk. He's got his teammate Larry Ward to help him out here in case it should come to that. But right now, I don't think he needs any help. He's ahead of Windham.
John Dowd, his last race with Team Yamaha before becoming a teammate of Larry Ward's right behind him. Ward, his last race on Team Suzuki. They're both going to Kawasaki to join RC. Ricky Carmichael in the 250 ranks next year.
A little surprised Lusk come out in better shape. He went into the first corner. It looked like he kind of had the hole shot. Dowd had the inside on him, but it seemed like he could have held down second.
Whoa! Dowdy not preferring to push Ward off the track. He could have very easily there. And Larry Ward moves into the lead.
That was beautiful. You usually see all the passes through that corner being made on the inside. Ward just laid it over, used the outside bank, doubled through there, and picked up the lead. That's got to feel good right now. Anytime you can lead the first lap of a national, the crowd's going wild, you get to pull a tear off, have clear vision. You're the guy in control.
Track conditions are great. It's getting overcast, the wind picking up a bit. Maybe the rain's on the way. Larry Ward is our leader with John Dowd right there in second place. Caton, number 63, is having problems holding on to third.
He's got the best riders in the world breathing down his neck. That's not going to be easy, but it is exciting as a privateer to get out front, see the leaders, kind of get used to that pace, all the noise the crowd makes up there, because when you're back in 20th, the crowd isn't making any noise at all.
Lee McCullum, Larry Ward's mechanic, big deep breath right there. He's going to be Pastrana's mechanic next year.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
The riders actually look forward to something new once in a while. You know, you don't want to feel like you burn any bridges, but it is nice to put on new colors, new clothing, new helmet, new motorcycle to get used to. And for the mechanics as well. I mean, for him to get an opportunity to work with a new kid who I have a feeling from what I've seen and heard, Pastrana's he has the opportunity to be a Jeremy McGrath. Kid's got talent. He hasn't even had a chance to race yet. People are already assuming he's going to win a lot.
Windham back in 6th. As Greg Albertyn, there you see Windham number 14. And Greg Albertyn, he wants to stay ahead of Windham. The battle for third is on. Caton slips back as Albertyn slips through.
Got to be a good feeling for Albertyn right now, knowing he got a decent start. Kind of overshoots those berms right there. It looks like he might have done that on purpose to give himself a better line into the next corner. But he just put another rider between himself and Kevin, so things are looking good so far. Larry
Ward still our leader. We'll be right back with more 250 action from Delmont.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation Games.
Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs coming to you from Delmont, Pennsylvania. The final event of the year. Larry Ward is our leader. His teammate, Greg Albertyn, trying to nail down the 250 championship, is in third behind John Dowd. Ward's best 99 motocross was a 5th overall, a 6.5 at Troy. But the battle for 4th is on. Mike Caton and Kevin Windham. Windham second in points, trying to catch up to Albertyn.
He just came down that hill hot on the inside. Couldn't quite get under Caton. That would have been nice for Kevin if he could have made the pass. He almost pulled off a double pass. He got Henry. He needs to get by Caton as fast as he can and try to get up there and start to bother Albertyn a little bit and change his whole attitude, because so far Albertyn's got clear sailing.
2 4-strokes. There's Jimmy Button making the pass on Doug Henry right behind Windham.
It's such a fast pace right now. Everyone is pushing it to the end. Jeff Stanton right there cheering on Kevin Windham, saying, get by this guy. Why did Caton have to pick this moto to ride with so well? I think that's probably going through Kevin's head.
Caton looks to the side. Kevin Windham has the opportunity right now and makes the pass. So Kevin not letting Greg Albertyn get away from him, but he's got to get closer as we take a look at on the scoreboard. Ward, Dowd still 1 and 2. Here comes Jimmy Button. Boy, that 4-stroke, you can hear it coming, but Caton's not budging. He's staying right in front of him, racing with everybody right now as we go back to the battle for second place. Greg Albertyn now getting within striking distance of John Dowd. Albee, the last year of his contract, is not mentioning anything about renegotiating with Suzuki until after this championship is secured. Let's go to Davey Coombs.
Joe, big day for you guys. How's it going so far? It looks pretty good right now. Kevin's behind us, so that's a good thing. What about Larry Ward up front? Does that surprise you? Yeah, Larry's riding really good, so I'd rather have it be one of our bikes than somebody else.
Finally, what was Greg like this morning? Was he nervous at all? I know the answer to that. He's never nervous.
He was actually better this week than last week, so I think he's all right.
Albertyn hounding John Dowd. He's approaching this final round with that same sense of confidence and positiveness that he did at the beginning of the year when he said, hey, I'm going to win this thing this year. Albertyn, bar to bar with John Dowd coming down the hill. Who breaks last? Albertyn takes the corner. And Albee will move into second place.
That's impressive for Albee to just come down there and lean into the corner, just trusting that Dowd wasn't going to park him. They came in there hot together. Looks like Albee already had the pass. John made a good effort to try to get back in there and make him earn it. And you're right, Albee has just remained so confident. You can't tell by the look on his face what's going on inside his head. It looks like he's always got it under control, a little confident smile.
Here's Kevin Windham, though, right on the tail of John Dowd. Windham.
Wow, jumps all the way out to the flat. He's not worried about trying to time the backside of that plateau, just whatever's fastest. Comes a little bit short on that one.
Dowdy hanging in there pretty well.
I don't think Kevin cares about how pretty he's riding right now. It's just a matter of staying with Albertyn's pace, trying to move around Dowd, and then get into the lead if he can, and try to make this title go down to the final moto, not have it decided here.
He's had an outstanding year. He's the winningest rider with 4 victories and has more hole shots than anyone else this year. He has 6 moto wins, and right now he's working hard to move into 3rd place.
Well, you get the idea right there that Brian Ferry's trying to get Dowd to run the pace of these guys, but you got to understand the motivation of Albertyn and even more motivation, I would think, from Kevin right now. Their pace is probably just a little bit above what it usually is, and Dowd's doing about all he can, but if there's anywhere he's slow a little bit, it's in the corners, and Ferry's trying to let him know.
Dowd, his best performance is 2nd at Southwick, but he's had all kinds of injury problems, and that all started during the Supercross season when he had that shoulder injury coming out of Daytona. Put him way behind on the motocross season, and then also it just hasn't healed that quickly. He's been bothered with it throughout almost the entire motocross season. Jimmy Button now with the 4-stroke and that power and the grip, dealing with the 2-stroke of John Dowd.
Yeah, going back to the 125 moto, we just watched Pingree having to come back from injuries and building that confidence. Dowd's in the same position.
Button got his very first moto win and very first overall win at Washougal, and after that he's had 2nd place finishes in the last 2 races. Let's go down to Davey Coombs, who's with his mechanic.
Brian, Jimmy didn't get the usual good start you guys begin late in the year, but he's moving up well. Well, he got a little bit of wheel spin off the start. There's a little bit of a pileup in the first turn. We started around 10th. He's coming up through the pack. He's in 4th right now. We'll just have to see how it pans out.
Our Our leader still Larry Ward with Greg Albertyn, the teammates 1-2 out in front. Here's Doug Henry and Ezra Lusk. Lusk with all kinds of bad luck and problems here in the late going of the season, and Doug Henry goes down. What a break for Ezra this time. He just slipped out.
Another one of those berms I talked about. You just have to find exactly the right line. Stay right in it perfect, trying to get that clutch back straight. Some guys run it a little bit loose so they can bend it back easier, but I don't know. I kind of like to run mine tight, not fall.
Ward, Albertyn, Windham, our top three. We'll be right back with more 250 action in a moment. We're back at Steel City Raceway. Moto number 1 of the 250s, Ezra Lusk number 4. Several people thought he might win the championship this year. He was number 1 in the points at Southwick after a win and 2 podium appearances. A lot of bad luck has struck Ezra Lusk since then. Tim Ferry, number 20, on the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha, is behind Lusk.
He's not just behind him, he's actually bothering him a little bit. Might have just ignited Ezra to get around John Dowd.
Dowdy trying to get back at him, does so. Back and forth we go. John Dowd and Ezra Lusk with Tim Ferry on their tails.
I still like it. I think Lusk needed to come down there and make that pass and just keep his fingers crossed that he can make it stick. And even if you can't, he's definitely got Dowd thinking the next time down that hill.
Ezra signing a new deal with Team Honda earlier in the season. Steve Mathis, Tim Ferry's mechanic, looking on. Ferry coming out of the privateer ranks, signed by the independent team, the Chaparral team. Larry Ward, our leader, with Albertyn still in second place. The 2 Team Suzuki riders out in front as the battle goes on between Lusk, Dowd, and Ferry's looking to take advantage.
I've always liked Ferry's riding style. Ever since his first win, I think it's around 95 at the Open in Orlando on the 125, I've just noticed that his riding style, it just sticks out. It reminds me of the way I like to ride. And when I watch him, whatever I'm thinking he ought to be doing, it's what he does. It's a pleasure to watch. He gets by Lusk.
Yeah, Ferry getting by Lusk now. So it's Dowd, Ferry, and Lusk with Robbie Reynard. Very quick on this track. This is his favorite track anywhere. And look for Robbie Reynard to make a move on Ezra. Race the track, Tim Ferry.
That's the best advice you can give.
And Mike Gosler putting the lap times, 2:37. These are longer laps than most tracks on this series. Steve Lamson with troubles. He's had a tough year all year long. Looking maybe toward Arena Cross or maybe the Japanese National Circuit for next year.
Well, that looks like it's a problem with Steve, not the motorcycle.
It sure does, David. He's trying to shake it off right now. Recover to maybe get back onto the track. Medical personnel right there on hand. Here's our leader. And Albertyn in second place. Larry Ward and Greg Albertyn. And do you suppose Larry Ward will be appreciative of the fact that Team Suzuki gave him a second chance at a factory ride, which is very unusual?
I think we're about to find out. I think I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he is, and he understands what's going on right now.
He's had as much as a 8-second lead. He looks back at Albertyn as if to say, take it over, partner.
Well, that's smart, because the 5 points that Albee needed over Windham, Ward just gave him. 3 points from first to second, 2 more from second to third, rather. So that'll be the 5 points and the title if things stay the way they are. Watch Ward looks over, takes the outside line, go for it. Doesn't necessarily do it in some sneaky section in the back to make it look cool. No, he's going to do it right in front of everybody.
Relax and breathe. The instructions for Greg Albertyn on his way to his very first AMA title. Let's get out of Davey.
Joe, a little bit of quick math. Right now, the way it stands, you guys win the national championship. Albee first, Ward second, Windham third.
Yeah, we got 3 more laps left. Kevin ain't going to quit, so I can't say nothing until checkered flag drops.
How do you feel right now?
I feel better than I did earlier today, that's for sure. Greg's comfortable, so I feel good.
Actually, David, Larry Ward has an important assignment right now. He's got to stay up there in second place.
Yeah, I'm sure Albertyn really appreciates the help that he's gotten from Larry so far this season, and than he does just what happened that past lap. But if Windham's able to get around him, I think he's going to go over there and have a word with him. That'll mess things up. But he's got a pretty good cushion right now with the lap rider coming over the jump next. So they got quite a bit of room.
This is the 7th straight year that Delmont has been the last race of the season, but it's the first time in at least 3 years that the title has been decided here. If that indeed is the case, let's go down to Davey Combs.
Hi, Roger. You're about 3 laps away. How do you feel?
Feel pretty good, as good as you can feel in this situation. You know, it's a motorsport, so you never know until it's finished. But things could not look better now.
Did you have words with Robbie Reynard and Larry Ward before the moto to just think about Greg if he was out there?
Yeah, I asked him, you know, not to be in the way, and you know, I don't expect anybody to ride dirty, and that's both from outside and from the other side. And up to now, things are going good, so I hope it's another 7 minutes like this.
That's a tough time to have to interview Roger DeCoster, David.
Now, he doesn't want to take his eyes off of anything, and he's got things coming in his headset as well, but he's been in this position before, and you know, he's still get nervous no matter what. I mean, it's always nerve-wracking with his title on the line. He's been trying so hard for a number of years at Suzuki to get his title back. He's finally done it.
That win at Millville, giving Greg a 35-point lead with 2 races to go, was a big one. Our Suzuki trivia question: when was the last time that Suzuki won a 250 national championship? The answer when we return.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation Game Console.
AMA Motocross is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, get in, be moved. Not even Jean-Michel Bayle, the only other former GP champion to win an AMA 250 title, did what Greg is about ready to do. And Greg Albertyn could win the title and also win a race in the same season. Jean-Michel Bayle won the title in '91 but did not win a race. Greg Albertyn has won 2 so far this year. On the final lap, our Suzuki trivia question: when was the last time Suzuki won a 250 national championship? It was 1981 and Kent Howerton. So indeed, quite an honor for this young man who's tried so hard in his 5-some seasons in the United States to regain a championship place.
Cried.
Greg's wife, do you think she's kind of just a little bit excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's excited, nervous. Probably thinking of all that shopping I could do.
Oh, now, come on.
That's what my wife would be thinking. No, it's nerve-wracking for him. You don't have any control over what's going on. Sometimes you're better off being the rider. They should have some control.
Believe it or not, David, this is the 5th time in the 90s a rider who took 2nd place one year will have won the title the very next year.
Did you tell Kevin Windham that yet?
Not yet.
Okay, that'll make him feel better.
But he's got a good shot at it, the way he's ridden this year. Jimmy Button now starting to put some pressure on Windham.
He has been bothering him this whole time. Kevin Carmichael and his dad behind him, they're all watching. Carmichael's good friends with Larry Ward. I think that'll be a good mixture over there at Kawasaki next year. Ricky already knows what it feels like to be in Greg's shoes.
After so many years of not having a title, what do you think it means to the Suzuki personnel, not only in America, but also Japan?
Everything. And that's what they do. That's why they spend money. That's why they hire these guys. It all comes down to winning championships and selling motorcycles. Jeff Stanton giving him a thumbs up.
And right now you got a big pat on the back for Roger DeCoster for turning this program around and getting more support for next year and ensuing years from the factory in Japan. The checkers for Albee. Ward's holding off Windham barely.
That's it, here you are. Yeah! You're the man. Yeah!
You're the man. Well, right now, Greg Albertyn's the man, I think, as he has taken this first moto and the championship of the 250s in AMA national action. Ward in second, Windham in third. Let's go down to Davey.
Well, Greg, finally it's happened. Before I even ask you any questions, I want to give the microphone to the AMA's Duke Finch.
Yeah, Greg, hard fought, well-deserved. Took you a little longer than you planned on, but on behalf of the AMA, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Duke, don't leave for a minute. Stay right there, guys. You need a shot with him.
All right, Greg, let me ask you a question. Did you know that the moto would turn out that way? Did you have any idea that Larry Ward would get out there and help you? You needed a win, but you needed Windham to get third, and it happened.
Well, Larry's been the best teammate I could really ask for. You know, every time I've needed a push, and he's helped me out, and you know, I really got to give him all the thanks. But first and foremost, I got to give Jesus Christ all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. You know, and thank you for this, Lord.
All of the Suzuki brass are here. Your old mechanic Ian's here. Your new wife Amy. This has to be a great feeling.
It's an awesome feeling, you know. I've waited so long for this, and just to all the fans who have stuck by me, you know, through the hard times, and when they didn't think I was going to do it, they still supported me, and I really appreciate that.
Congratulations, champ.
The pressures of high expectations mixed with frustrating failures over several years now lifted. As we go back down to Davey, and the man of the hour now is Larry Ward.
Well, Larry, beside us, Greg Albertyn's getting all the accolades of a national champion. I got to say, it looked to me like you took one for the team.
Well, you know, I was having fun out there. I don't know why everything was clicking so good for me out there. First motos I've been struggling, but I got a decent start, and I felt like I was riding a comfortable pace and pulling away. I felt really good, but you know, there's always second moto, and that was a lot of fun. And Greg and Roger, the whole team has been so good to me the last 2 years. You know, it's no big deal.
After a horrible season's opener, Kevin Windham fought back all season long to become a contender. Let's go right back down to Davey.
Well, Kevin, gave it all you had in that moto, but it looks like the Suzuki's just got away in the beginning.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't riding quite like I did in practice. You know, I was kind of a little nervous, and I don't know. I mean, Greg and those guys were riding great, and I just tried to get in after it. I rode good, but those guys were riding really good up there, and you know, Greg had his visions focused in on what he had to do, and he did a good job. My hats go off to Albertyn.
125's coming up next. Moto 2 action. Can Ricky Carmichael sweep it? And time Mark Burnett's record? We'll be right back to find out.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation Games.
AMA Motocross is brought to you by Suzuki, makers of innovative motorcycles and ATVs. See the incredible new 1999s at your dealer now.
Getting ready for the start of the last 125 moto of the year. The rain started falling again in Steel City, but it hasn't quite come down. Right here, guy waiting on a chance at history, Ricky Carmichael. He won the first moto straight and clean. He wins this one. He ties Mark Burnett for the all-time win record. How can you bet against Carmichael in this moto?
I don't think you do, David.
That's true. Well, you see the same layout for the second moto, but sky jump is the section we're going to take a look at on board. You go around the corner at the bottom, try to get a good drive up the hill, of course. The faster you get out of the corner, the sooner you can get up that hill and try to get over that double. A lot of guys have been going wide, but every once in a while somebody will cut it to the inside, still make all those doubles, and if they can do both of those, they'll make the pass.
So Ricky Carmichael has never won here at Steel City. This is his last 125 moto before graduating up to the 250s next year full-time.
That'll be exciting. Imagine throwing him into the mix of the already great action we had in the 250 class this year. I'm looking forward to that.
And I think it'll be exciting to see who takes Ricky Carmichael's place as the top drawer of the 125s. We're off and running for the second 125 moto from Delmont. Pingree looks like he got another hole shot. Number 60 has the lead. Carmichael in second place. Ron Cott and Pingree were right close together. Nathan Ramsey had trouble in that first turn.
Looks like he's going straight to the mechanics area. He's shaking his head. may have bent something. Already Carmichael goes for the pass. It just doesn't waste any. It's so much like McGrath in Supercross. Once again, reaching up to clear his vision in a place that, I don't know, he reaches up to take a tearaway off in places I wouldn't let go of the handlebars. But he always pulls it off.
Ron Cotta trying to hold with them now as Pingree feels the heat of Ricky Carmichael right behind him.
Well, Pingree realizes right now if he can stay here, this is an overall win. And Carmichael's motivated as well. If he can get by, he'll pick up the win here at Delmont and Ty Barnett. Both these guys are motivated.
Carmichael to the inside. Look at that leap. Does the double. Gets by Pingree. Ricky Carmichael in first. Here comes Ron Cotta. The three of them starting to pull a little bit away from Casey Johnson.
And Carmichael makes the pass in the place we just looked from our onboard camera. He was able to jump all those doubles from the inside. Guys that have been able to do that mostly been on 250s. Carmichael pulls it off on the 125 just with perfect timing. Plus he sat down to get that extra lift on the suspension.
You can see, well, now they're trying to work on Nathan Ramsey's machine, and that's Chad Watts, RC's mechanic, helping out there with the Pro Circuit machine. I was going to say, on some cameras you can see raindrops. It is starting to rain here at Delmont, but it certainly hasn't affected the track any.
Well, it's probably for Greg Albertyn in the pits. He's probably glad he got this championship over with in the first moto and not have to deal with mud in the second moto to decide it. That would be nerve-wracking. That's where bikes start to have problems. And you see the little bit of wheel spin coming out of there on the hard pack stuff. Anywhere it's polished off, it's going to get real slick, even with a few raindrops.
So Carmichael is in the lead with Ron Cotta trying to hold close here in the second moto. Pingree in third.
This should be a good battle. Ron Cotta would love to beat Carmichael in this moto. He doesn't care about records. He doesn't care about where Carmichael's won or lost. He'd just like to beat him here.
He just needs a win before the season starts.
It's his last chance. Coming around to the mechanics there, I wonder if Chad had a chance to get over and give a signal to his rider. It seemed like he was pretty involved in helping Ramsey get going. Don't know that Carmichael really needs him. He looks around quite a bit. He's very aware of what's going on around him. Signal board he usually looks at just to keep Chad happy, and in case Chad's putting lap times down on there, he can race the track.
David, it's nice under these conditions too that he's out front and can take the line he wants and feels more secure on.
Plus, if it keeps raining, that roost will be a problem for the guys behind you in terms of vision. Every time you get a little piece of dirt that hits you in the goggles, it'll stick. Eventually, those add up. You can't see them.
Casey Johnson, Talon Bolin in a battle. Bolin on the FMF 711. Casey Johnson behind Pingree, trying to put the pressure on. He goes wide. Bolin.
You can see the difference in lines in that corner approaching the sky jump we showed you. You can go anywhere on that racetrack you want. Still come out of there in pretty good shape. It really just depends on whether you're protecting the line from somebody that's challenging from behind.
Carmichael is looking to check out, but Ron Cotta won't let him. We'll be right back with the final 125 moto of the season.
Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with the top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation Game.
Second Moto 125 action from Delmont, Pennsylvania. Our leader, Ricky Carmichael, Ron Cotta in second. This is the battle for third. Pingree, along with Casey Johnson and Talon Bolin. Casey giving him a look.
Pingree trying to get back up there and get another great moto finish. Perhaps round out with his best overall. He's got a lot of pressure right now with Casey right there. Bolin pressing them both. You see Bolin reaching up just off to the side there to clear his vision a little bit. So that is starting to become a little bit of a problem, especially since he's following two bikes.
Pingree with his best moto finish of the year in the opening moto, with second place after the whole shot. He's trying to hold on to third right now. Bolin is not waiting for Casey Johnson to make a move, really. Casey, though, slick move.
Wow, it's great racing. Bolin came down and pushed Casey so hard, he ended up making the pass on Pingree. I don't know if he really meant to do that. But that worked out pretty good, and there goes Bolin.
All into the inside. Just Pingree shut the door on the corner.
See what he does down here. This is the corner I talked about, where he can run all the way inside, all the way outside. He beat him to the corner, so he gets to take whatever line he wanted.
Bolin does a little dirt track action there, sliding on the slippery turf.
There's Jessamine right behind these guys in a pretty fine ride.
Brandon Jessamine showing some potential.
If you can just keep the pace of these three guys battling, you're doing something right out there. He's actually been able to close slightly.
As you can say, the number is 67 for Jessamine.
Rolling over the big doubles. Gets it down just on the downside. That gets tough to do lap after lap. Sometimes you get in there, you have to time that. If you jump too far, you land out on the flat. The suspension goes through quite a bit, and you can't get into the corner as nice. These guys time it and land it exactly on the downside. That's when they can start their braking for the corner.
With the domination of Ricky Carmichael all season long, it's been refreshing to have a Talon Bolin on hand. Energetic, never gives up.
A little bit wild if he needs to be. Yeah, I really, especially the way the Supercross season went for him, with just one problem after another, I thought, well, I don't look at that line. Just, yeah, I think I'll just go here. It's just tractor mark. But it's actually being able to find traction there. Where in the groove, it's a little bit more polished off, like I was saying, and it's slick. I just didn't expect him to do so well outdoors. I know that was where his expertise was. That's kind of like Tortelli, and he surprised me in that opener of the year when he passed Carmichael.
Well, he really had to get his timing back after being in the GP so long as far as jumps are concerned.
Well, I'm pretty sure he's got used to that. I'm sure he's seen more jumps this year than he's seen probably in his last 3 or 4 years.
Very happy to be able to stay in the United States for 2 more seasons, at least, now that he's re-upped with Pro Circuit. Ricky Carmichael starts our Suzuki stopwatch, almost a 4-second lead on Roncada, so he's starting to pull away just a little bit on number 22 as we go all the way back to 3rd.
That gives you an idea how fast Carmichael and Roncada are going. Almost 20 seconds on Casey Johnson and Bolin. They're pushing each other, so just slightly off the pace.
And quite a pack of riders there battling for 3rd.
Jessamine still in that battle. He's got Carl Nunn, the European, applying a little bit of pressure to him. There you see him 9:55.
What a fine ride that Carl Nunn has put in his first American race. He's come over, I think, for the GPs. He's a GP rider anyway in the 125s, but he had a 9th place finish in the opening moto. Got a chance for a pretty fine overall finish here as we take a look at Casey Johnson.
Nice momentum through that corner. Comes down the hill on the outside or his left and just sweeps all the way through there, right back on the power. Corner speed here is important, especially some of these off-cammers and when it heads back up the hill.
Let me correct myself. Carl Nunn got an 8th in that first moto. That was in front of Casey Johnson. And here is our leader, Ricky Carmichael.
Look at him go to work in all those Supercross sections. Puts the bike exactly where he wants it. Hard on the power before the bike even touches the ground. He's already wide open. That rear tire is just waiting to hit something and start going.
It's that section that Ricky Carmichael just went through that makes me think that Mr. Dunn has a future in Supercross, maybe. The Englishman holding in there pretty well in this American motocross.
This track is a really nice blend of Supercross, outdoor, off-camber, fast, tricky, with an uphill start. And you can see the whole thing from the spectator standpoint. Wow, that's the kind of stuff that can come up and bite you. We saw Chiotti go down in the first moto, or Chiotti rather, and same kind of thing. You just hit something, get a little bit offline, and it can send you down. That time Ricky was just on top of it enough to save it.
Remember that race he went cartwheeling last year in first place, got up, still won the race?
We can do it all.
Round 12, drawing near a close. We'll be right back. Check out a checkered flag. We're back in Delmont, Pennsylvania for the final round of 125 action in the final moto of the year. Our leader, Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael is just checked out. Stefan Roncada in second place, unable to keep up with him. Another great performance by Ricky Carmichael. Looking to tie Mark Burnett's all-time career 125 mark. Let's get out of Davey Coombs with Duke Finch of the AMA.
This 125 motor winds down. You're watching Team USA's entry, Ricky Carmichael, for the 1999 Motocross of Nations, win yet another race. And Duke Finch right here with the AMA. Duke, how do you feel about our team going to Brazil?
I think we got a good, strong team. I mean, Ricky's record stands for itself. Kevin Windham's won the most motos of anybody this year, and Mike LaRocco is just a bulldog. He'll go fight for us.
Yeah. I know that it's been a long time since America won, since 1996, actually. Can you guys bring that plate back?
I think so. The track down there, from what I understand, has got a few more jumps than what most of the European tracks have got. Even though it's going along doubles, there should be some stuff that we can make our guys go good on.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I mentioned earlier, Ricky Carmichael doesn't plan on hopping on a 250 for that 250 GP at Budds Creek next week. He wants to be primed and ready for the 125s in Brazil. And from the sound of things, it sounds like that track will really be right up the Americans' alley.
You know, I hate to think of it, really, but it's kind of been the talk in the past since we have lost that title, is that the Americans' chances are usually equated with how many jumps are on the track or if it's going to rain or not. But I think this year we've got it covered. Kevin Windham and LaRocco both ride well in certain circumstances that don't require Supercross technique. So does Carmichael, and Kevin and LaRocco both ride excellent in the mud. So our chances look great this year.
We're looking at Talon Bolin right now. And right behind him is Casey Johnson. Johnson, after going down, trying to get back up into the fray.
Starting to copy Bolin's line right there, coming out of that inside. Cuts off quite a bit of racetrack, gets you set up for the double. Pingree's still hanging. Jessman's still there. That's a good pack. They're really not able to get in and dice with one another, but one mistake and it'll get close.
Carl Nunn also in that mix. At the tail end of it anyway, as we take a look at Ron Cotta in second place.
And that was exactly those little mistakes like that. Those are the kinds of things that are dropping him off the pace of Carmichael.
Brock Sellers taking the long walk back to the pits. And a very disappointing ending to the season for Brock.
You know what, though? Having a national win under his belt now is that's a great feeling. I mean, he's got to be disappointed on the day. He'd like to probably win one more, but it's been a pretty good season for him. And with Carmichael out of it next year, he really could be the guy that steps up and wins it all.
6 podiums, including his victory at Washougal with a 1-3. Brock Sellers, one of the many we look forward to seeing in action. Battle for the vacated crown. And here's another guy you think might be right there battling with Brock, number 60, David Pingree, should he stay away from injury.
I'll never forget the time we were in the press room in San Diego. Just had said hello to him. Hey, how's it going? Oh, everything's great. He was carrying his helmet, headed out on the track. A few minutes later, I learned that he'd crashed, broken his leg, twisted everything. It was
ACL.
Yeah, it was a lot of problems for him to have to come back from. And forget the fact that he's pretty young, a lot of talent. Plenty of potential still there for David Pingree.
Came back to win a Supercross this year. Let's go down to Davey.
There's one disappointed rider behind me, Brock Sellers. He grew up right across the Pennsylvania border in Ohio. I knew he really wanted to do well here. Fortunately, before his bike broke, it appears he clinched second in the final 125 championship standings. With Ricky Carmichael moving up to the 250 class, that guy right there has got to be one of the favorites for the year 2000.
Brock Sellers having this frustrating moment of watching the rest of the race.
That was his bike that the mechanics were just pushing across the track and behind these guys.
Jessamine and Nunn. This is an interesting little battle. Jessamine with a lot of potential, a young rider. Carl Nunn, after running the GPs, coming over here and trying the American circuit. Jessamine, as you see there, in 6th position.
Europeans seem to be having more and more success coming over here and doing well in Supercross, getting their feet wet and then coming back in years to follow and contesting it the whole time. Little fishtail off the berm there. But this could be a guy we'll be looking a lot more at in the future.
The Englishman on the Yamaha. They're both still chasing David Pingree. Pingree, though, holding his own. He wants a fine possible podium spot if he can move up. Davey Coombs making his way over the mechanics area. Let's go to Davey.
As the 125 moto winds down, I want you to check this out. That's Doug Henry and his wife Stacy getting ready for the last moto of Doug's career. The sport of motocross and supercross is going to miss these two more than I could probably explain right here. And a lot of people are going to miss a good friend when Doug decides to go home to Connecticut.
Talking with Doug Henry before the race, he said, I'm glad I'm going to retire, but I was talking with my wife last night before we went to sleep, and he says, I'm glad I'm going to retire, but it sucks. And then he apologized for saying suck. And I think he's the only rider at Delmont, Pennsylvania that would do such a thing.
That's a real example of his character. I mean, he is such a gentleman out there, and he has been such a great champion, such a source of inspiration for everybody with all that he's battled through.
More 125s when we get back. This week's Suzuki Flashback, we turn to last year's 125 action here at Delmont. Moto number 1, John Dowd, got the whole shot and takes the early lead. Number 67, Nick Way, battles Pro Circuit teammate Casey Johnson, number 20, and number 21, Primal Suzuki's Robbie Reynard for second. It would be Johnson taking over the lead, but Robbie Reynard put the heat on the rest of the way. Casey Johnson would take the checkers for his very first career 125 moto win. Double R and RC were way out in front of the pack in Moto 2. Robbie Reynard had a great duel with Ricky Carmichael. But this time, Reynard in the lead won his 5th 125 national overall. Carmichael secured the crown a week earlier in Binghamton. It is the last lap for Ricky Carmichael on a 125 here at Delmont in the final round of the year. Ricky Carmichael, looking for his 9th victory of the season. Only has a few more 100 yards before he sees the checkered flag.
He always loves to win. Oh. Just so he can do that. I think he would do that even if he didn't win. You could hear the crowd there anticipating and coming around for that.
Greg Albertyn discussing things with Roger DeCoster before the final 250 moto of the year. But Ricky Carmichael last week, of course, joined Brock Glover and Mark Barnett as the only 3-time winners in 125 history. And, of course, should he not get a flat tire, a broken chain right now, he would tie Mark Barnett's 125 record of 25 wins. Casey Johnson battling with Talon Bolin. This is a great thing about motocross. You got Ricky Carmichael way out in front, but there's always some racing going on somewhere, and this has been a great back-and-forth battle.
These guys have been bugging each other the whole race, while Carmichael is just able to make it look, it's just unbelievable. You can go back and watch Bolin and Johnson, who are both so talented, ride so hard, still be that far behind somebody like this. The crowd appreciates it, too. Here's the scene what a lot of people around the country this year have seen, and that is just a truly amazing talent in Carmichael.
So Ricky Carmichael gets the checkered flag and will take the victory lap. Carmichael Roncada second. Talon Bolin regains third. Casey Johnson, David Pingree are top 5. Let's go down to Davey.
Talon, good solid ride to end the season.
Yeah, that's about all it was. I really wasn't happy with my first moto ride. It's difficult to pass on this track, and, you know, I don't know what it is. Deep down, I trained hard. I was motivated because Kiko and Carmichael was here, you know, and I wanted to beat him, but I guess deep down I just didn't have it today. Some days you have good days and some days you have bad days, and for me this was a bad day. I didn't feel good on the bike all day. I was pretty happy with the second moto, but hey, I didn't get hurt at the end of the year. I had a good season overall, top 3. Can't ask for much more than that, you know. Everything's good, I'm healthy, so I'm looking forward to next year.
How do you feel about next year? What's going to be different for Talon Bolin?
Well, actually, I've changed teams for next year, and I'd just like to thank FMF Honda for all their support, you know. But I'm changing teams. I have a new motivation, and of course, Ricky's out of the class, and he's a tough bugger out there. So, I mean, without him in there, I think it's going to be a good race championship, but I feel I should be the odds-on favorite. So I'll work real hard, use that for my motivation, and try to win the title next year, you know. One of these years is going to be my year. I just keep working on it.
It's good to have you here in the series, Talon.
I'm happy to be back. You know, I did a long tour in Europe, and You know, I say again that my dream's coming true. I never actually expected once I went to Europe to be able to come back and get the support that I got and the spectator support that I got. It's amazing, and it's kind of like a new lease on racing, because I get a little bit burned out over here and come here and I'm new, I'm fresh faced. Everybody likes me and it makes me feel good, and shoot, I feel like I can go another 2 or 3 years in my career, no problem.
Taking a look at the top 10 now on the overall sheet. Ricky Carmichael, Roncada Pingree holds on to that podium spot in third. Let's go to one of the greatest 125 riders of all time, who's with our Davey Coombs right now.
Well, Ricky, there it is. You got the record. Yeah, it feels good, you know. So I guess I'll hang out with Barnett for a while, I'd say. I tell you what, with all the help from Kawasaki and Fox, Oakley, Pro Circuit, my mom and dad, my mechanic Chad Watts, I tell you, I had a THQ, Charlie Designs Bell helmets, Alpine Star boots, and thanks to your family and your whole crew for getting a good track today. I wouldn't have been able to do it, and I'd like to thank everybody for supporting me through my 125 career. It was definitely a good one.
Looking ahead to the year 2000, you got one more race on the 125, the Motocross Designations. When you going to get on that 250?
Probably next week, I imagine. I'm going to ride the 125 just a little bit before the Designations, but I'll be 110% for that race, definitely.
Well, good luck, Ricky. It's been a pleasure watching you on the 125, and I know you got it, and you're on the 250.
Thanks a lot, Davey.
So Ricky Carmichael with 549 points over the second-place rider Brock Sellard's 396. Wins by the biggest margin in modern scoring times, 153 points. Besting Steve Lamson's 120-point advantage for the crown in the 125s. So now both #1 plates have been awarded. We're going to see the second moto in the 250s and have some fun with it when we return to Delmont, Pennsylvania.
Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with the top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation Games.
This week's Honda riding tip, the mind. What it goes through in a full season of motocross and supercross. Mikel Pichon here battling at the opener with Sebastien Tortelli. A former winner here, Pichon had to give way to Tortelli, the world champion coming over here. Not expecting to make a splash in the Supercross, but knowing he had the pressure on him to win the outdoors. And he started off with a sweep at round 1. It was all working perfect for Tortelli, holding the points lead until this collision with Doug Henry in the second moto at Unadilla cost him a broken wrist and the points lead. That was picked up by Ezra Lusk with a win at Southwood. Beginning to look like Ezra was going to put it all together in the outdoors after losing again with Jeremy McGrath in the Supercross. But his problems escalated. 4 finishes, no points at Washougal. Took Ezra out of the points race. And for Kevin Windham, Glen Helen was a disaster. Round 1, a badly bruised thigh and only 7 points scored. He came from the depths of depression to the elation of sweeps like here at Budds Creek, only to lose the title to Greg Albertyn in the end. Keeping your head together is sometimes the greatest challenge.
250s getting set now for their final moto of the 1999 season. Jimmy Button, who's made such progress on that 4-stroke, re-signing with Yamaha for next year. Mike LaRocco looking to finish in third place in the points. And Doug Henry, very emotional moment right now. Mixed feelings. Last race of his pro career.
You can see it right there.
Yeah, don't say it too loud, but he's got a surprise birthday retirement party coming up tonight after the race. Robbie Reynard at the line, Larry Ward, Kevin Windham. He's accomplished so much this year, Kevin Windham. Ezra Lusk trying to battle the frustration to have a final good moto, and here's the champ. You know, the winners here at Delmont are like a who's who of modern champions. We've got LaRocco, McGrath, Emig, Henry, and now Greg Albertyn.
You got to wonder where the motivation is in this final moto to really push it to the edge from Albertyn and Doug Henry.
The final moto of the 1999 season. They start jumping the gate. Looks like malfunction. That was Robbie Reynard getting off last as he got caught in the gate. Somebody down in the first turn. We'll have to check it out. That's Larry Ward. My goodness, after such a great first moto, check this out.
Well, it looks to me like some of the guys over there, Robbie Reynard perhaps, hard to spot from this particular angle, but somebody got going early and then everybody else reacted to it. Everyone's on pins and needles at that moment.
And Tim Ferry gets his first hole shot of the year.
Meanwhile, Ward back there in the middle of the pack, he goes down and just gets run over. It seems like guys can miss you at that point when they're towards the rear of the field, but he still got punched around a little bit, so a huge difference for Larry.
Even with the pressure off. Look who's in second place behind Tim Ferry. Greg Albertyn. Doug Henry in third. He's been such an important part of Supercross and motocross in his career, Doug Henry. Gosh, he's got to be the sentimental favorite right now.
He is. I'm sure they'd like to see any of these guys go out and close the day. Tim Ferry, for one, a privateer to get a moto victory. See Albertyn close out the season in championship fashion with a win. And to see Doug, I mean, there's a lot of people out here you can be rooting for. That's what's been great about this series.
It would be Albertyn's third win of the year if he can take the overall. He's been so consistent throughout the season. 3 second-place finishes. A third place at Budds Creek to go along with the victories. Never worse than the 8th place finish at Glen Helen, the opening round.
That's what it takes. The year I won the 250 National Championship, I only won 2 races. 2 or 3, I don't even remember, but it wasn't very many, I can tell you that, but I was very consistent.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Jean-Michel Bale won the title in '91 in the 250s without a victory.
Jean-Michel Bale was just amazing to come over here and win every championship, the 250, the 500, the Supercross, all in the same year, and then just said, all right, I'm going to go road racing. And that's just amazing, the talent that guy had. What I hear, he still goes pretty fast on a Supercross track.
Ferry, Albertyn, Doug Henry, Kevin Windham in 4th, and John Dowd rounding out the top 5. LaRocco back at 8. Mike Caton, another pretty decent start there with the top 10. As we take a look at the entire field.
Another great start for Albertyn. Just having an excellent day, and it's just too bad his teammate Larry Ward going down to the running up front the first moto, having the lead, looking like he probably held on to it if he wanted. Said things were just clicking for him, and this moto he just about gets run over by 4 or 5 riders as he goes down the first corner.
One of the fastest riders on the track is Robbie Reynard after the last place start. He's trying to move his way up through the field.
That's fun. If we could think of a nickname for Robbie, it would be something to do with having to come from behind and pick riders off through the pack at a fast pace.
We'll have to work on that for next year.
Yeah, he's a little bit like LaRocco has been over the years, in that he just always seems to be coming from behind.
And of course, this is his favorite track, as we mentioned before. Albertyn would love to go out with a moto victory right now, side by side with Ferry. Ferry the inside, and here goes Albertyn cutting to the inside. That move surprised me at that point, but now Albertyn takes the lead.
He just planned that out a little bit better. He forced Ferry to go down to that corner so hard he had to drift wide after the berm and sort of make a little S-turn out of it, where Albee came down, was able to come from the outside, square the corner off, and get much more speed as they approach these jumps. No problem for the pass.
So Albertyn takes the lead here in the final moto of the season. We'll be right back with more 250 action from Delmont in a moment.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation game console.
Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs back at Delmont, Pennsylvania, Steel City Raceway. We've had an exciting afternoon already as we see Doug Henry and Kevin Windham battling for 3rd place. Henry in his final race of his career. Windham just starting what looks like a great championship career ahead of him.
Looked like he had an inside line up there on Doug. Doug knew it well, cut over, closed it off.
Whoa. Talk about acceleration in that corner. Great move by Kevin Windham. My goodness. And that puts Henry back in 4th. Let's go to Davey.
Steve, Tim finally got that start you've been hoping for the whole time, and so far he's proven he can hold on to it.
Yeah, I know. It's been all year, and when you wait till the last motor to do it, but yeah, hopefully he can stay strong.
You got Windham right behind you. You got to know that Windham wants to prove a point to Albertyn. Tim going right along with him, kind of caught in the crossbars. It's a good thing for you guys.
Yeah, definitely it is. It's going to help push him. Plus, Timmy wants to prove to these guys, too, that he can hang with him, so hopefully he can.
3 times Ferry has finished 6th overall. But he's on his way right now of his best overall performance of the year.
He is in the middle. One of the first nationals I rode was 1981, and I was lined up right in between Kent Howerton and Bob Hanna at Mount Morris. Talk about nerve. I didn't mean to be lined up there. It was all that was left. And those guys just hated each other. It looks like Kevin's going to just bump him back one spot and get up there and deal with Albertyn on his own. Catch it.
Kevin Windham, a great deal of pride. Understand Kevin's been a house guest of Jeff Stanton's lately.
That's always good if you can spend some time with somebody like Stanton who has all that experience, just to hang out and talk. And they don't even have to go riding or training. Just being around Jeff, little things rub off.
Now, be serious. You don't think that he's not having a workout if he goes to Stanton's place?
I'm sure he is. He's too tired to talk.
I'll bet Stanton's putting him through boot camp. Mel Harris, American Suzuki, the head guy. Boy, he's got to be feeling great right about now. Greg Albertyn out in front has already secured the title in the first moto here today.
I think those guys could be smiling even if it was Greg that went down in the first corner of this moto.
But Mel has got to head to Greg's house with a checkbook now. Got to re-sign it.
They'll do what they can to hold on to Greg.
They sure will. And, of course, that would be the sentimental favorite for Greg, would be to sign up once again for Suzuki. He came over here because Roger DeCoster convinced him to do so. He went through a lot of tough years as that program developed. Ezra Lusk testing the inside on Doug Henry.
Great line.
It doesn't matter where Doug Henry's going to finish here today. The crowd will be just as appreciative as if he'd win the championship.
He's just enjoying being up there in the mix, putting in a good ride. You know, he's not going to go out there and ride around slow. He's going to get out there and make a good effort of it. He's doing the same thing I think any of us would do. Go out there and try not to get any scuffle with anybody. And just try to be as aggressive as possible. And if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, maybe just back off a little bit.
LaRocco behind Henry now with the number 3 plate.
2:32. The lap times are coming down. That's 5 seconds faster than what I remember seeing the first moto.
Time to take a break from the action. Albertyn first, Windham second, Ferry third. But look at number 9. Robbie Reynard has passed 31 riders. Welcome back as we check out the battle for 6th. Mike LaRocco putting heat on Doug Henry. Out in front, Greg Albertyn in our second moto. If you tuned in late, Ricky Carmichael tied Barnett's record in the 125s with a victory. And Greg Albertyn in the first moto for the 250s secured the crown. And Mike LaRocco made it look pretty easy.
That was beautiful. He came out of the corner and really pitched the back end down, set himself up for that next little short shoot, squared him up. It's been a very popular place to pass. You heard Talon Bolin talk about how it's tough to pass out here. I kind of agree. There's a lot of off-cameras and one-line situations, but you got to have yourself in position for the places where you can make the pass. And right there, LaRocco did it perfect.
Ezra Lusk in 5th, and he'll get some heat from LaRocco as LaRocco wants as many points as possible to end this year. There's John Dowd behind Henry.
It's hard to believe they can get tires to hook up on that surface. Those guys all just roll over that bump and then accelerate to jump that next double. And the ground is just polished. He's still able to hook up right there and just go from 10 miles an hour to 40 in order to jump 35 feet across the top onto that tabletop.
Albertyn, our leader. It's going to be interesting his next race. He's going to join the GP 250 round there at Budds Creek, the final 250 GP round of the season, with all his old buddies from all around the world. And, of course, it's been 5 years since he participated in that particular series.
Probably like to show those guys, okay, now look how fast I am.
Let's go to Davey.
Joe, it looks like Greg got over like winning the whole championship thing a few minutes ago. He wants to put an exclamation point on now.
Yeah, he won the first moto. He wants to win the second one just to prove it.
How
was the mood between motos? Were you guys stoked?
Yeah, relaxed, a little less tension now, so just go out and race.
Let me ask you a question. What are you guys doing next year?
I don't know. Just hopefully come back out and do the same thing.
At least you got #1 plate to wear.
That's right. Thanks.
Albee's mechanic Joe Maurer, and of course a great deal of credit for Albertyn's performance throughout the years has to go to Ian Harrison, his longtime mechanic, who Roger DeCoster has taken in the in shop for research and development, who's doing a great job.
All those guys are going to be so happy. As soon as somebody wins on the bike, the whole team, the morale goes up a couple of notches. And they know that they have the bike. They've got a #1 plate over there. They've got Pastrana joining the team. He looks like he's going to be a hot prospect. And, yeah, things are really starting to look up. I mean, in 1981, when Kent Howerton won the championship, Suzuki was the bike, that full floater, super lightweight bike. I remember one time they came out at Mount Morris, as a matter of fact, with tarps covering the bike. They didn't want anyone to see that full floater that they came out with. They were definitely the dominant force, and it looks like they're starting to get that back.
Jimmy Button, #10, is looking to secure his 4th podium in the last 4 races. He's starting to put the heat on Tim Ferry for 3rd place and makes the pass and gives him a face full of dirt.
Kind of used the lap rider a little bit to his advantage. Could have been there. Ferry wasn't really sure how to cover that. Kind of catch-22. If you go wide, you give him...
Oh, Ferry comes right back. What a move. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, Ferry came in a little bit wide. He was going to try to square it. He was trying to get a little bit free of that lap rider. And Button just snuck right in there and took it. But then Button bobbles a little bit right there, gets over the main line in the berm. Ferry just makes the beeline right for the good berm, cuts him right back off.
So a great move by Tim Ferry puts him back into 3rd place. Albertyn is still our leader. We will return in a moment. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs. Time is running out in the 1999 motocross season. Greg Albertyn crowned our 250 champion, and this is the lone remaining battle right now as Robbie Reynard has done an incredible job getting out of the gate last. He got hung up in the gate, and now he's in a battle for 8th place with John Dowd, #6.
That's an impressive ride. If anybody, any of these spectators out here happen to just notice that, they have got to be pulling for him to move up as far as he can. Here comes Button again. Makes that inside work on Ferry.
So Button moves into 3rd. That would put him on the podium.
Ferry really charging down that hill hard. Jumps a little bit farther down there, lands in a braking bump. He's pushing it as hard as he can. He wants that podium for the 2nd moto. He's going to have to fight Button for it. That's not going to be easy because Button is just on a roll lately.
Look at here. Reynard up the hill on John Dowd. Cuts him off. Robbie Reynard moves into 8th place.
Look how beautiful. Reynard went around that corner just perfect. Feet on the pegs, laid over the doubles. Timing was just right.
Can he get the 7th now with Doug Henry in front of him? Well, this is an incredible ride by Robbie.
It's always important to go out and give it 100%, but I've had some of these rides and you just hate to sort of waste one on a 7th place finish if that's what he can get up to and hang on to. You'd sort of like to have those be 1st or 2nd, or at least a battle for the lead when you come from that far behind.
It is the last race of the year.
It won't go unnoticed.
Robbie will be participating in the 250 GP next week at Budds Creek. And here's Greg Albertyn. Oh, he's going to be feeling great inside.
There's going to be a big party tonight. He's got the title, probably the overall, the final round, a couple of moto wins, just to put an exclamation point on everything. He's been confident the whole time. I wasn't absolutely sure looking at the talent lined up for this 250 class this year, but he has proved it.
Came right out before the first race of the year, said, I'm going to win it all. A lot of people said that was lip service, especially after his frustrations of the 4 previous seasons. But he believed in himself. He had faith in himself, faith in the machine and the program, and that's obvious.
There's Kevin trying to close the gap a little bit, but it wouldn't matter in the overall, and it certainly wouldn't matter for the title. This is just one of those races where you just going, just come on, just give me the white flag. It already hurts bad enough.
Well, Kevin is a classy guy, and he's learned so much this year, David.
I think Kevin has really realized more so in this series than ever before, that every point counts and that you can't give up no matter how bad it seems. That first race could have been a whole different story if he'd have stayed out there and just tried to salvage something. You never know. I look back to McGrath doing that same thing in Washougal a few years ago.
Greg Albertyn comes across the finish line with the checkers flying. So this is the first time Suzuki has won here at Delmont in a 250. And Greg Albertyn gets the sweep.
Almost gets a kiss from his wife.
Here's Doug Henry. What an emotional moment this has got to be for the Henry family. So many friends and family drove to Delmont to see this last race.
I'm glad I got to be around to see Doug's career. I watched the whole thing, and in some ways he's going to be glad to not have to come back to all this, but he will miss it.
The redness in Doug's eyes right now didn't come from the roost in this race. We'll have to see what he has to say when we return.
So you want to be a champion? Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. Go head-to-head with a top superstar in motocross today. It's the ultimate motocross simulation. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. So real you'll be pulling your teeth out of the dirt. Only on PlayStation Game Console.